Hey guys, what is up? RedPandaMining here. How you guys all doing? I hope you're all doing well and having a great day. In this video, guys, I'm gonna be swapping this wooden frame onto an aluminum frame. And I have a spare frame that I'm gonna use. I'll show you guys that in a sec. I did make a video of swapping a rig over from a wooden frame to aluminum frame about a week or two ago, and I did a time lapse of it and everything. You guys seem to enjoy that really a lot, but in this video I want to do something different. So some of you guys have asked me a couple questions like, which PCIe splitters did I use? And I'm using these ones from Amazon. I'll have it linked in the description. But also, instead of doing a time lapse, I'm going to go through every single step of what I'm doing, because some of you guys are asking how I'm using this cable for what, where's that plugging into where. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll try and do it as quick as I can. So let me go ahead and show you the other frame that I want to put it in. Before we go to my mining frame, guys, I just want to mention this video is sponsored by nerdgears.com, and that is with a Z. It is an online store for crypto mining hardware. As you can see, there are a bunch of graphic cards on sale as well. If you use coupon code RedPanda5, you also get an additional 5% off your whole order with free shipping to North America. And they also accept crypto as payment, as well as Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and many others. Check them out, guys. Link in the description below, as well as come join Discord to have a chat with two of the owners if you have any questions. Nerdgears.com. You guys remember the bathroom rigs? Haven't forgotten about updating this, guys. As you can see, I still got the 6x RX 570 rig here. It's mining Ethereum at the moment. Here's the temperature, 82 Fahrenheit in here, so it's not too bad. And this is the frame I'm wanting to swap out for that wooden frame. As you can see here, I did have two GTX 1050s and a 1070 on here, but I was using the 1070 as a test for running Claymore. And then I gave away one of the 1050s, and then for the 3,000 subscriber giveaway. And now I have the last card here, 1050. That's been sitting. I haven't been using it. It's just been sitting there for a while. So my plan is to take everything out of this frame and swap everything from that wooden frame onto here. Okay, so I'm gonna showcase to you guys every step of the way. So let's go. Alright guys, so we're gonna start with the teardown of the wooden frame rig. Now, just to mention, these are 1060s, and so to start off first, we're going to take off the PCIe cables. And for these 1060s, these are 6GB editions, and these are the mini edition cards from Zotac, and they only have one PCIe plug for each card. So I'm just unplugging that first. Okay, so all 6 of the PCIes are unplugged. Now we're going to unplug the USB cables from the PCIe risers, which are connected to the graphic card. So it's all 6 of them unplugged. Next, we're going to unplug the SATA to PCIe adapter, which powers the risers. Okay, next I'm going to just cut off these zip ties here. Funny story, guys, I wanted to tell you guys was, back in the day, since this was one of my first rigs I ever made, I did a mistake. So I had 3 SATA to PCIe on one SATA strand. Okay, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So I had 3, as you can see here, I have one SATA cable which goes into the power supply here, and then into a strand of 3 SATA to PCIe cables, as you can see here. So off one strand, because of that, when I had all 3 plugged into a riser, so I had 3 risers going off one strand into the power supply, I melted and burned the power supply. Okay, it melted the whole connector here. My whole place smelled like cancer, burning, ozone, whatever, something. That was one of my first experiences trying to build a 6 GPU rig. I did not know any better. I didn't do my research, so that's just fair warning to you guys for new people that are trying to build mining frames, mining rigs. Do not in my case, in my experience, just, you know, don't put 3 onto one SATA cable. Like at maximum, I would do 2 or 1 per strand, depending on which cards you're using, because of the power requirements for certain cards. So if you're using more higher end cards, I would be using PCIe splitters like this, which I'm gonna show you guys later, utilizing the PCIe cables directly, because they can harness more electricity, wattage for your cards safely. Alright guys, I'm just going to now unplug these PCIe adapters here and USB cables just to get them out here. Next, I'm going to take off the GPUs, just unscrewing it from the wooden frame. Oops, dropped a screw. Alright, next I'm just going to take off the power supply cables from the motherboard. 2 more connectors that are in this motherboard. This motherboard is a Gigabyte H110 D3A. So I got 2 Molex power connectors going into the power supply. And this is the Molex connector, guys, that I'm talking about. It's a 4-pin, not a SATA cable, okay? It looks like that. This is a SATA cable, and this is a 4-pin Molex, okay? Alright, and then now we're just going to take off the power supply here. And lastly, the motherboard. That's all that's left. And I'm just going to unplug the SATA cable and take off the fan that I had here. So let me go get the aluminum frame. 3, 2, 1. Magic! Look at that, guys. Here it is. I'm not going to bore you guys and take apart this rig. I just showed you that on the wooden frame. So in 3, 2, 1. Here it is, guys. Alright, it's ready to go. I'm ready to put everything back in. But first, I just realized something, that I will have to drill in new holes up in the top here. Alright guys, so got the frame here, the 2 holes are just drilled. You guys may be wondering why I drilled 2 holes. That's because I needed to make sure the cards were even when I screw them in. So I'll have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and so on. I had 8 holes initially. I was supposed to do 8 GPUs in this, but I'm just going to be doing 6, and so 6 will be even. Perfectly now on this frame. Alright guys, so to begin, I'm going to put in the 850 watt power supply here. This is the Thermaltake model with gold rated power supply, 80 plus gold. And so we're not going to use the SATA cables anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug these. There's another one. And there's another one. So there was 3 SATA cables that I was using. So these are all going to go away, because we're going to be using these PCIe splitters. Much better stuff. Safer power delivery, and nothing should melt. So there it is, guys. So I can explain how each one works. One end goes into the other end of the PCIe cable, as you can see here. So there's 1 cable that goes into the power supply. Actually, there's 3 PCIe cables. I should just mention that right now. Okay, so there's 3 different PCIe cables here, and each of them has 2 PCIe ends on them, red ends. You can see one daisy chains off of the other here, and then goes into the power supply. So with these PCIe splitters, the main reason why I'm using these is so one will go into the graphic card, and the other will go into the riser. So I'm basically utilizing one of the PCIe's into the graphic card, the GTX 1060, and then the riser, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to show you guys when I plug it in what I'm talking about. Alright, so first I'm going to situate the motherboard. I'm just going to put it here, like so, on this angle. And then we're going to put in the power supply. And let me just bring it like this into like this. We're going to plug in the power cable for the motherboard and the CPU power as well. Alright guys, so next thing I wanted to do, actually before I start, putting the cards up and everything, make sure you do some cable management, so you might as well do that before you put the other stuff on. Now obviously this all depends on what type of rig frame that you're using. You may not be able to cable manage it the way that I am, but it just all depends. You guys can do your own research, do your own way, cable manage the best way that you can. Always makes the rig look better and feel better, And then I'm just putting another strap for this side. Okay. That's looking better. I totally forgot to put in the Molex cable, which goes into the motherboard, so I'm going to do that now. We're going to put in the video cards, okay? Let's do it. Let's do the first one. So, I didn't take off the riser and the GPU. They're already together. So now, yeah, I'm just going to plop it in like so. And I'm just going to do this 5 more times. Okay, how's that look, guys? All the cards are in. Now, the next step is let's plug in the PCIe cables. Okay guys, so here's an important part, and a few of you guys were asking about this in the last video that I made about this a week or 2 ago. Okay, so I got the PCIe splitters already hooked up, right? Now, like I said, each splitter goes into one of the PCIes that are on the strand that goes into the power supply. Okay, so like I showed you here, you got one PCIe cable coming out, and it goes into 2, right? 2 PCIe red ones here. And then I have these splitters that I bought from Amazon, and then it splits it into 2, okay? It splits it into another 2 PCIe. So I'll be plugging one end into the video card and the other end into the riser, okay? So that the power is distributed well and enough wattage, enough power for each card on each strand, okay? Now, depending on what type of cards you're using and also your undervolting, the way that you're doing it, and also depending on which power supply wattage you have, that makes all the difference, guys. So I'm doing these on 1060s, okay? GTX 1060s and an 850 watt power supply, which is definitely enough for what I'm doing here. But if you have a different rig, like an RX 580 rig or GTX 1080s, they require a little bit more power, like 1000 watt, and the 1080s I would think a 1200 watt power supply. So and make sure you undervolt as well when you start mining. But that's like a whole nother video if you guys want to know how to do that. But in the meantime, I'm just showing you the splitters that I'm using for the GPUs and the risers. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and plug in one strand into each of the card and the riser. So let's do that now. So like so, one into the card. As you can see here, what I'm doing here, right? And the other end goes into the riser here. Okay, there we go. So you guys can see that? You guys can see you see that example? The splitter, PCIe, splitting into the graphic card and into the riser. Okay, so let's do another one. So, off of that same PCIe strand cable, I have the other end here, right? As you can see here. And we're going to put that into the other. So this is just for the people that are wondering what I did in the last video. So this is, hopefully that explains what I'm doing here. So there you go. One strand, I'm able to do 2 1060s and 2 risers. And I use the splitters to split them off into 4, okay? Alright, so now time to do the rest of them. Okay guys, all the PCIe cables are plugged in, but now you can see right now it's kind of a mess. So, of course, we gotta use cable ties, and we're gonna cable manage it to make it look nicer, right? That's what we're all about, right? Making it look nice, and we'll feel better, right? Okay, maybe I'm the only person that does this, but I know some of you guys like cable managing as well, so I'm gonna do my best here. I mean, there's really not much ways I can do it. Gonna try and put it on this end here. That looks pretty good. How's that look, guys? Okay guys, so that's cable managed, I think, good enough for the PCIe cables. Now, next we're going to plug in the USB to PCIe cables. Here's the USB to PCIe. So one goes into the motherboard, so this end. Now it is directional, so there is only one way to put it in. Make sure the long part of the PCIe part here, PCIe 1, goes in like this. You'll see a little notch here. So the longer part goes in front like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then you plug the USB part into the first card. Now I always just follow directional 1-to-1. The first PCIe goes into the first card and so on. So second card and second PCIe right here and so on and so forth. Okay. There we go. All the PCIe USB cables are in. Now let's see if we can cable manage it somehow. Alright guys, there it is. What do you think? Hopefully that's cable managed enough to your guys' liking, and hopefully to my liking. You know, you cable manage your rig and you treat it well, it's gonna treat you well back. Right? Man, I hope this thing boots up. Okay. We're missing one more thing. We gotta put in the hard drive. But it depends if you're gonna be using, you know, HiveOS or SMOS. You can use a USB stick as well. But in my case, I'm gonna plug in a hard drive. So, but you guys all know how to plug in a hard drive, right? Alright guys, so there it is. Let me know what you guys think. Look at this. How cool is this? This is a shorter aluminum frame that I made about a year and a half ago. And as you can see here, I have a longer frame here, which fits longer GTX 1060s. But with this, you know, it's shorter because these are Zotac minis. So this works out pretty well for this case, for these cards. And look at that, guys. I'll try to go around it so you guys can see my beautiful mining rig work. Like, you know, come on now. Come on now. There you go. All right. And here's this side here. Since it's pretty short, I'm able to put my mechanical hard drive, or one of my old, well, it's not really old, it's a Seagate 1 terabyte hard drive that I put in. And I actually had to put a SATA cable in because I forgot that a hard drive takes SATA. So take note of that, guys. And then the SATA cable which goes into the motherboard. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to show you in this video. I hope it was, hopefully you guys, some people learned something. I know most of you that watch me are already pretty proficient in building mining rigs. So, but for the newcomers, I hope that helped you out in the reasoning of why I use these PCIe splitters. So hopefully that makes sense for some of you. If not, please let me know in the comments. Okay, so that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think. And I appreciate all of you who watch me day in and day out. Smash the like button, guys. Please click the subscribe. Also click the notification bell. And let me know all of the bad things that I did wrong. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Phew, it turned on. No smoke, nothing. Thank God. See, cable management. It makes, the rig knows that you're making it clean. Therefore, it treats you better.